podcast can also be live. So if you're listening live right now, this is also a podcast. So I just want to give a quick shout out to that, to Wake Up Wednesdays with Ben Curtis and Daniel Tuttle. If sometimes you got to search the whole thing, but it's there, and we're a podcast. And if you like what we're doing, one way you can support this and the message and the medicine that we give the world that you're a part of, please listen and subscribe. That makes a huge difference. Add us to your list, to your playlist, share it with a friend. Most of all, I want to say thank you for being here today. So this is a topic
Yes.
I'm really passionate about. And to answer your question, I've been a little frazzled today. I woke up on time and was prepared, and then, you make a
Right.
plan and things fall apart sometimes. So,
That's right. Exactly. You
and
know
maybe
that
I don't
phrase?
even want to create it as fall apart. I just want to say it didn't work as well as I would have liked them to. So I'm so
Right.
glad I get to start my morning creating with you. So thank you for creating with me, Daniel.
Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege as always. And I wanted to just remind us, what is that great line? I think it's a John Lennon quote. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we plan, man plans, God laughs. I think that's another one that they
Yeah.
say. So how does it get even better? What else is possible? We're in that time and space where we just have to kind of let go. I did a consciousness class last night. My consciousness class was all about letting go. And that's kind
Mm.
of where we are. We're in this space of, hey, we can do all that we want to do, create all that we want to create, institute what we want to institute. But at the end of the day, we've got to remember that there's much bigger energies that are in play here. And what is our role? Our role is to be an ambassador of that energy, right? To play with that energy and ask, hey, how can I be best of service here? And I think it's such a great way to lead into our topic today, Ben, about really looking at um, letting go, right? And looking at creating something, out creating generational patterns.
Yeah.
Um, and I really, I have to say, this is something I think that a lot of people, that's coming up for a lot of people. It goes on. I see it a lot in my day to day with my clients, and let's start to talk about it. I'd love to hear from everybody. Like, what is generational trauma to you? What does it even mean to you? Right?
Yeah, I'm curious for our listeners. We've got a good group here, including Glenn. Good morning, and the Fox Wellness Den. I feel like the Fox Den and the Lions Den have to get together. By the way, side note. And
Ooh, that's
Lisette.
awesome.
Oh my gosh, Lisette's an amazing soul from my past. I have not seen that name in like 10 years. Wow.
Hello, everyone.
So yeah, so let's talk about what are some, if you had an awareness of generational trauma, right? What
Yep.
would that look like to you? What do you think is present in your family if there was? Um, Glenn said substance abuse.
Yes, absolutely.
I do you have some in your family?
I was thinking about it this last night when we were talking about this subject, and my first, my initial reaction was no, but then I started to see that I think the generational trauma or the generational addiction, if there
Mm.
is one, is really towards secrets. Like I recognize and
Mm.
realize that my family definitely has a history of we like to make sure we like to pretend like everything is fine and good, and everybody has their shit together.
I think
But
that's only your family.
it is only my family. I know it's only my family. Of course, it's only my family. Of course, of
Just
course,
kidding. Of course
exactly.
not. And I'm also hearing addiction here. Mike Cohen being love, and Lisette
Hmm.
mentioned eating disorders in her family. Um, Secrets for you, Daniel. That's a juicy one. That's like for I feel like that's pretty much most of the southern United States, right?
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah. I mean, it's like one of those things where it's like, I mean, I remember growing up and I lived in this like utopian family, like, oh my God, it's so great. We have this big family. We get together every Sunday night and have dinner. And, it's like really amazing. Then 20 years later, you hear about the scandals and the this and the that. And I was like, what the hell? How did I not know that this was going on? Like, I also, because I felt like we had such a perfect family, I felt like, wow, I have to
Mm-hmm.
be perfect here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's what I realized is that's the opportunity to overcome it, right, Ben? It's like, to when you have that awareness to say, okay, how can I choose differently? How can I choose outside of this generational experience or this generational trauma? What's there for me?
Hmm.
And I mean, look, I still I work on it every day. You know?
Yeah, I have to as well. I just want to mention the other people who chimed in here in the Fox Wellness Den saying, and two family reunions this year. His mom's side had sickness troubles, and his dad was not the best with maintaining relationships. That's a polite way of putting it.
Hmm.
Um,
That's very PC of you.
yeah. Daniel, as I've gotten older, my sister shared that it felt like I thought we had an incredible family. You know, my father was very gregarious and charismatic and sensitive and
Sure.
incredibly brilliant, and my mother was actually pretty social and like very involved as a French teacher, but also in civil rights and equal rights and like my sister was really progressive and she was a dancer, but she was also like a merit scholar, and we were this family at the church. And so, but I knew that we were like kind of bonkers and I was wild. So I didn't think we were perfect or anything, but as I've gotten older, my sisters talked about this pressure she felt like the church was almost this other woman my dad was in a relationship with, and we had this pressure to show up as a perfect family. My mom said that too, and she was like, clearly we weren't, but it was like this facade we felt like we had to keep up in a way. And I mean, I don't know, my dad was always pretty open with his stuff. That's where I get it from. I mean, as soon as he found out in therapy that he had been sexually abused, he started talking about it at church. He started painting. He started a support group there. He then faced his sexuality, was able to step in, that like gave him permission to let go of some need to be something,
Yeah.
and was able to come out and say, I'm attracted to men and women, and
Right.
actually I've spent my whole life with one woman thinking I have to do this, but I'd like to pursue men. So anyway, all this but underneath, when I went to therapy and when shit fell apart for me mentally and physically, I found out we had multiple 4 generations of clinical depression on both sides of my family, suicide on both sides of my family within 1 to 2 degrees. Like no one had addiction, which was weird. Why I was like wanted to do all the drinking and smoking, it just didn't really happen in my family. But
Hmm.
I guess I felt like I had to rebel against something. And then we talked about injuries. My father. Oh, and on my father's side, God, there's been multiple, not only suicides from my cousin, but like strange deaths, and it's really taken a huge toll on our family. And I'm just like, is anyone else going to deal with this? We're just going to
Right.
sit here and suffer.
Right.
I don't want to just take medication. I want to make a difference. And so for me, I've really, when someone first explained generational trauma to me, I was like, whoa, that makes a lot of sense. That's my
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and that was really confusing too. But it became a pathway to healing.
I was
And
gonna say, doesn't it make you feel a lot less alone?
yeah,
Because I
but
think
it
so
also
so
felt like a
often.
burden because I was like, if I don't deal with this, I'm gonna pass
Sure.
this on genetically,
Sure.
energetically, and that's
Yeah.
one thing that I'm really concerned about. And Cassie too. Like we were both had addictive personalities. Parvis was afraid to have a child because we think they're just gonna be like the Tasmanian devil. And she has so much generational trauma on her side of the family too, so there's something to be responsible for if we're going to
Sure.
bring a life into this world and to really get right with our energy, which I think you can do. So for me, it has become a pathway to healing.
Yeah.
And my father and I talked about it, but you were the first person to say, Ben, you don't have to take on like be injured to be close to your father. Like my father was always really
Right.
clumsy and accident prone, and I felt like I was like him. And you actually mention, that maybe I don't have to be that way to be like him. And that
Right.
was suddenly hit like, oh, I wonder if I've taken that on
Because we do it
to
actually.
identify.
Yeah, we do, and to express love, really, believe it or
Hmm.
not. It's like, oh, my dad did this, therefore I want to be like him because I love him or I admire him or I want to um, be like him in some way. And we don't even realize that we take on those things too. When we say, I want to be like my dad, you're saying, I want to be like and take on all that your dad is.
Mm,
So what if we were just us? What if we asked, what if we declared to the universe that what would it take for us to be truly, truly authentic to us and honor our loved ones, right? And honor the gifts that they have, to be able to point them out. Like your father was a deeply spiritual man who held people's hearts and who held their souls in such integrity. What if that was what you focused on in terms of,
mm,
I want to be like my dad, I want to hold people's hearts and souls in integrity. So I think it's a matter of us shifting what it is we're truly, truly asking for, right? If we're asking for to be a part of a family, what are the gifts that are a part of your family? And would we be willing to focus on the gifts of what our family is, instead of what it means to take on the good, the bad, the ugly, the narcissistic, the secretive, the addictive, all of those things as well? Because I believe that is when we actually change something,
mm,
right? When we change something, it's like Guillermo says, when we take responsibility and say, hey, look, I don't have to be like this, or I don't have to fall into that trap, or that trap is not, just because I am a part of this family, I don't have to prescribe to that. And doing the work, right? Because doing the work is something that I think that is a catchphrase. Do the work, do the work, do the work. All we're asking for is awareness. Doing the work is really awareness, right? If you create an awareness around something, then what you can do is go into it deeper within you and replace it, right? We go into these subconscious levels, we can replace it. There are many different techniques, hypnosis, theta healing, all kinds of things that you can do to actually uproot and change those limiting beliefs so that you can create a different reality for yourself. That's what I recommend. And that's definitely what I've spent most of my adult life. I would say the last 20 years has been all about seeking spirituality, seeking wellness, seeking to fine tune my intuition so that I could change it, and actually using it to actually empower and help others as well.
mm. Yes. So using it to empower others as well. And so I think you have to face it if you're ever going to be able to use it. And
Yeah.
um, that's something that I think can be really scary. My buddy Rob Signum's on here. Hi, Rob. It's so I was thinking about you all morning. It's really, of course, you're here now. You've literally been on my mind the last hour. So does it really ever end, or are we just processing it and making it better? Doesn't the specter stay with us after? Um, that's a really great question. And Foxwell in the Den just said that same thing. I really believe that we really can take that on. It really can end with us. There's beliefs that we inherit, like Daniel said, whether it's to stay safe, whether they're real or not. But the suffering we put on ourselves,
Right.
to need to work hard in order to receive validation, the need to numb out in order to deal with the world, the need to just the habits we've even take on, and they're so comfortable and maybe even subconscious. There's actually it's just programming. So I think if we start to look at it,
Hmm.
ask questions. I love that you said doing the work. I want to do that for a next podcast episode. That can just be
Yeah.
like getting curious, like what is this here to teach me? Not
Right.
just like how am I going to deal with this and try to make it better.
Let's
But
also
I'm
can
really
we
curious for
acknowledge?
what I
Yeah, I
want to,
just want
yeah,
to
hear what you would
I
say
want
about
to
this.
throw that in there. Just let's also acknowledge that we have free will. Okay. And free will is something that is granted to every single one of us. And how do we activate free will? With choice.
Hmm.
Okay, Rob? So while it may look like those things are with us forever, that we might not be able to change them or whatever, please remember that every moment of our life is a choice. And so there are choices that are going to be harder to outcreate than other choices, right?
Hmm.
However, if we're focused on the fact that we do have a choice, then we can actually literally change biologically, chemically, spiritually, mentally, physically, everything with this with that is within us. And to add to that, there is something very, very powerful that science is actually starting to discover, and that's
Hmm.
epigenetics.
I
Okay.
love this. Yes.
Epigenetics is actually proven that we are taking on ancestral beliefs. Okay, it's proven. It's in the cells now. They're being able to prove that. So if that is what that is, then guess what? We can also change it. All right, we can change it.
I
We
wish
can
I had
change the
one of those big
epigenetics.
applause machines right now. Like, oh,
Yes,
yes.
yes, we can change it.
And it
And
may
guys,
not be overnight. I'm working on this
no,
every single day too, Rob. Like I
absolutely.
still like I
Me
noticed me
too. Me
taking this
too.
on. I've been in the ER 3 times since I've lived here. I'm like, isn't it funny if the ER was across the street, if anything ever happened? Like I'm so tired of going to the ER. I really want to let this go. I really want to not, so this is something I'm actively working on. That's why I actually love Daniel and I found you. And so I'm glad we're all speaking about this.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Also, too, remember, guys, those ancestral patterns, those ancestral beliefs were happening at a different time in a different space. And remember, the earth was at a different vibration. Okay, I'm talking a little metaphysics here, but it's important for you to know. Actually, they just proved, I think I read it somewhere that the earth is actually spinning even faster than it ever has before. That is something that is electromagnetic that is actually affecting us. Okay, and so as those energies shift and change too, guess what? So do ours. So we are empathic beings. We are psychic individuals. We take on that energy. And so allow us to use that to propel us forward. Allow
Mm.
it to use us to break those cycles, as we say, to create new ones. How's it get any better? It's work, guys. It's work, but it's fun. It doesn't have to be so heavy, right?
Yeah.
That's the
And
thing,
that's,
too.
yeah, it can, and I wake up thinking about it. I actually was thinking about a friend, a previous partner of mine who really wanted a child, just nothing more, and it just wasn't working out between us. But we really learned so much from each other and let each other go. And she recently had a child, and I was really trying to have a child. Cassie and I have been, and we were pregnant at the same time, and ours didn't live and hers did, and I have another friend pregnant, and there's been so much about like I've been waking up really just this urge and desire to be a father every day, and it's been something that I felt like was a gift that I was receiving, but also like now I wonder about trauma and healing, if there's something we're missing in order to allow this soul to come in. And so it's something I still have to let go of, is like the energy I bring to it, and just to bring light. And
Yeah.
I'm always like, it's really frustrating the things I can't create, and that I can't be a woman and bring this child in myself. And we've really have to co-create, and that's going to take a lot of time. And
Yeah.
well, it doesn't have to, right? It doesn't have to take a lot of time. But
Yes,
there's,
exactly.
in other words, it's something I work on daily too, to let go of, so that I could be a father, so that I could be of service without being injured, you know,
Yeah.
um, and so that I
I
could be
think you
even free of the like. I did a post about this the other day, like this guy like running around, and after doing it,
Mhm.
I was like, oh my god, that's my dad, and that's me some mornings too.
Aw.
So I try to give the medicine that I also need in practice.
But
That
also,
frantic energy.
you have this energy about you already that is so paternal. Like just how you show up for people, and you show up in your practice and in here, and everything we do together. Like your that care and that love is already there, right? And so as we have gratitude for that, I love that Mikkel mentioned that as well. As we have gratitude and acknowledgement, like, wow, I'm being a father, right? I'm being this energy. I'm being that which I'm actually asking to attract. Then we're
Yeah,
creating the space of what else is possible. You know what I mean, babe?
yeah.
It's divine timing. That's right. Exactly.
And I've realized in this space, I've gotten to help so many other men and women go through and talk about miscarriage, and
Yeah.
go through, and I've helped a lot of new dads too, and that's been like a really beautiful gift too. So I'm always looking for how to create. So I really appreciate us having this conversation today.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Oh, Rob just said, after my dad died, I realized my likes and priorities weren't his likes and priorities. Well, that's a great awareness, Rob. I remember I had an English teacher that he was very thin, and he told us this story that he used to be extremely, extremely obese, and his father used to verbally abuse him for it all the time, and he just almost kept the weight on despite him, and also because that's what he learned to do is shame himself. But eventually, his father died, and as soon as his father died, he lost all the weight,
Wow.
and he was able to let it go. But it's not always that easy. I gained a lot of weight when my dad died, you know. Um,
But it is really about, I love what you said, Rob. I mean, how often do we're not even aware, that we're taking on those familial likes and priorities. We're not even aware of it sometimes until we step back and say, wait, is that really mine? do
yeah.
I do I really really need to win the World Series? Like, do I really need, this or to do that, or we start to step back and say, oh God, wow, that's not even mine, you know?
100%. Yeah. And
And again,
so I
back to
want
the
to,
idea of choice, right? Then you can choose differently, Rob. Then you can say, oh wow, that's not mine. My priorities and likes are very different. Now, how great. Now let me
yeah.
choose mine, you know?
Yeah, it can be. The phrase comes to mind. I think I learned this in Al-Anon, but it was awareness, acceptance, action. The
Yes.
three A's. So once you become aware of it, then you can accept it or not or reject it,
Mhm.
and then take action. You can accept that, okay, I have these things, I accept that I have them, and do I want to carry them? Then choice becomes there, and then an action, whether to take action or not. So, just having
Yeah.
this conversation, just being present is a an action today. And so I just want to thank every single person. I realize
Please. Thank you
I have an
guys.
awareness today. I
Yes.
have said out of habit or whatever else, I
Uh-huh.
just wanna. And I realize I've coached people to be like, oh, you just want to say something. So I really want to. I'm going to. I am taking actively working on taking that out of my speech.
We'll
So
just
I
switch
would
it with
like
I
to.
choose. Just say I choose instead of I just
Ooh, I
wanna.
like that. I
Right?
like
I
that.
choose.
I
Let's
like that.
choose, guys. Let's all choose. I also
I'm
want to thank you
choosing
guys.
to acknowledge everyone here for being part of this conversation. Oh, and
Exactly.
Diaka came in. Oh my gosh, what an amazing group. And David, I see you too, David Blue Skies. Thank you, Mikkel and Fox Wellness Den and Guillermo and everyone who participated in this conversation today.
Yeah, you guys
Lisette
are
and
awesome.
Glenn. We're
Thank
really
you.
grateful. And if you're listening in the future on our podcast, thank you. And if you'd like
Thank
to hear
you.
more of this conversation and things like this for healing, for joy, for freedom, please check out our
Yeah.
podcast, Wake Up Wednesdays. Uh, Thank you so much, Daniel. And thank you so much, everyone, for the
Thank you,
consciousness and being
Ben.
part of this.
And thank you to everyone. And we'll see you next time, next week, same time, same place.
Yeah. Uh, Definitely. I was thinking, yeah, around the same time. We'll see. I'll be in California. We'll make it work.
We'll make
We
it work.
love you guys.
We
And
love you
definitely
guys.
listen to the podcast and check out our Facebook page. That's a consistent place to always keep getting this and updates.
That's right. Of course. Thank you,
Thank you
Rob.
all. Have a beautiful
Bye,
day. I
guys.
appreciate you all.